I have a messed up identity. I used to have a good one, but this is what it's like and what I think is best to do if you choose to live with radical honesty as your absolute top priority. And it's because I came from a messed up situation, ex-officer, ex-marine, ex-convict. This is what it is now. And I sometimes get lit up for leading with radical honesty. Like people always say, no, you don't have to lead with that. You shouldn't have to say that. But this is stigma. Like, it's real. And I don't really think people understand, and they don't have to. They don't have to understand. But when you meet new friends, and then they bring friends, and it's connection building. It's a beautiful thing. And I love talking to people and finding out what makes them tick. And this is how I've always been. And unless you're like a weasel, why on earth would you want to be disingenuous? I think it's a nasty thing. And to combat that, you lead with honesty. Like, obviously, in this age group, or basically any age after 18, the number one question when you're meeting people is, so what do you do? You do it when you're inquiring about people. But people think, oh no. Well, they tell me, oh, you should give it 3 days after they meet you. Hell no. I would rather weed out the people that can't handle truth. I'll always be actively searching for a time to just drop the truth. And the moment they inquire, I always say, well, it's a shocking story for those, only for those who have at least 30 seconds of an open mind. Because when you're genuinely meeting people and they're giving you the time of day and they ask you probing questions, like that's the time to do it. And that's what I mean by this fucking deception timer. If you aren't minimizing the time before meeting and the truth, that means you're prioritizing hiding the shame. And that's the difference. I don't want to waste people's time. The kindest thing you can do to somebody is be honest and be genuine. Like, anything other than that is lying. Imagine if I let you find out months down the line, somehow, some way. But the whole time you're saying, man, what a great guy. But then if I didn't lead with that, initially you'd feel betrayal. But I also hear the argument, oh, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Like, fuck, man, I would rather do that because at least I'm not lying. So recently, I was in Vegas. I met up with my old friends. I'm like 09. And their friends brought their friends that I didn't know. And it was cool. And we were having, surface level conversations. It started innocent. So what do you do after? The person I was talking to, she knew that I used to work, at that restaurant with all the old buddies, but she wanted to know what I did after. Imagine if I just said, oh yeah, I joined the military and I joined the sheriff's office and that's that. She would think that I'm a great guy. And she wouldn't have to lower her guard down. See, that right there is deception. And it's important information to tell her, because it's like, dude, you're this cute little 5'6" chick. You're going to want to know who you're talking to, especially if you keep asking questions. And so I had the choice to lie or tell the truth. I'll always choose to tell the truth. But then I had my friend jump in and she gave us the lecture on the spot. She's like, no. You don't have to tell anyone that. Stop wearing that shit on your shoulder. You don't need to do that. You know, it's like my friend really tried to jump in and save me because she probably thought that exposing myself was a dreadful thing. But I had to explain that I lived my whole life in prison being radically transparent. And I couldn't hide. I didn't have the luxury. And even on Instagram, I let everyone know. I put in like all the links in the bio. I don't deny the existence of my conviction. But the problem is, I mean, like, okay, if you have like certain charges, but if you have a murder charge, something that you went to prison for 7 years for, I mean, I think it's disrespectful if you omit. Hence the deception timer. And it's different. It's different when you're an ex-officer or if you're in the military. It's like you knew better, like getting in trouble. So like on paper, technically, like by the way it stands, the way it's written, you know, I violated the oath that I swore allegiance to. I promised to uphold the law, be an extension, not to break it. And I recognize that. And that's why that is my identity now. Piece of shit, I get, you know, whatever. And not that I want to, but it's because I have to. I have to accept it. Especially if you have the threat of like prison or lawsuits for libel, you know, prison wants you to come back. Like my whole channel here on YouTube and on Instagram is to show you what it's like to live alongside the stigma, like beside it. And on top of that, you know, on Instagram, I sneak my truth in my content as much as I can. I don't want to trauma dump, but because I know what it's like to live beside the stigma, you know, the label and the shame. But yeah, man, if, you know, I'm your guy, if you're fucked off, like if your life is fucked off and you need an example or you need someone to jump in the water with you so you can be fucked off on shore, I mean, I could do that. And what I mean by that is, like, your life will always be fucked up. Right? Like, if you do some fucked up shit, you will always suffer the consequences. But you would rather be fucked off on shore than fucked off in the water. Make sense? Like, therapy is great, but it's like, good luck, dude. Like, literally, like, in my opinion, if you're not fucking with a psych who's gonna give you, like, psych meds, you're gonna end up with a therapist who will just identify the problem and then clarify what you need to do, and then it will show you how to manage. And then they're just gonna, you know, tell you this is what you need to do and do some kind of check-in. Like, but sometimes you just need someone on your ass, you know? Like, if you had me on your team, that would mean I would have a vested financial interest in your success. Yeah. Accountability at the check-in, you know? How you doing? Good? How's the tool I'm showing you? How you doing? How's this tool that I'm showing you? It's good? Sorted out? Yeah. Here's what I think you should work on, you know, all that stuff. But that's the trade-off. You know, some people just need to be validated or invalidated. Like, if I sniff bullshit, I'm gonna let you know. Like, you just need to be told straight. Like, I firmly believe that I want you to get better, so you don't have to keep coming back, you know? That's what it is. Anyway, I think being lied to is the worst possible thing. And the kindest thing you could do to someone is be straight. Straight with them. That's why I just say it like it is. But anyway, DMs are always open. You find me.